For 44 years, the official record said East Germany's national rowing team simply out-trained the rest of the world. Discipline, diet, early mornings, and one photo they don't want you to look at twice. That's the story they tell. It isn't what happened. Someone made sure you'd never learn what those crews actually carried in their blood. Here's what the records were rewritten to hide. 1976, Montreal. The East German women's 8 crosses the line and nobody else is close. 6 of 8 boats that regatta go to the GDR. Western coaches call it a miracle of method, better ergometers, better nutrition science, a system the free world simply hadn't matched. Cold War headlines run with it. A small, walled-off country of 17 million is beating nations 20 times its size, and the story sells itself. Discipline wins. Medals become currency. Every win is proof the system works, and the system has a name: State Plan 14.25. Almost nobody outside East Berlin knows what that number means. Then the wall comes down. 1990. Reunification opens files nobody was supposed to read again. Researchers digging through Stasi archives find folders labeled with a phrase that translates roughly to supporting means. Not vitamins, not diet logs, dosage charts, athlete code names instead of real names, cross-referenced against competition dates. A rowing coach's training log lines up, week for week, with a doctor's injection schedule. The miracle of method has a paper trail, and the paper trail doesn't mention training at all. The easy explanation is that this was just aggressive, cutting-edge sports science, vitamins, legal supplements, nothing anyone else wasn't quietly doing too. That explanation collapses fast. The substances tracked in those files were banned under the same rules the GDR publicly claimed to follow. The athletes listed weren't all adults. Some were teenagers recruited into elite sports schools years before they could legally consent to anything, let alone a hormone regimen disguised as vitamin injections on their own training cards. They were told it was medicine. Many were never told what it was at all. Here's who they were. State Plan 14.25 ran through the GDR Sports Medical Service under a doctor named Manfred Herpner, coordinated with the Stasi to keep the program invisible to international testers, and just as carefully, invisible to the athletes' own families. Rowing clubs across the country fed talented kids into the pipeline early, before their bodies had fully developed, because that's when the program worked best and complaints were rarest. Coaches who asked questions were reassigned. Doctors who refused were replaced. When international drug testing tightened in the late 1970s, the program didn't stop. It adjusted the timing, so athletes cleared by the time they reached the medal stand. For 44 years, that timing worked. The files sat sealed and the gold stayed golds. When Germany finally prosecuted Herpner and the sports federation's president, Manfred Ewald, in 1998, testimony from former rowers described being handed pills with meals and never asking why, because in that system, asking why wasn't a door that opened. Nothing about the record books changed. The medals from Montreal, Moscow, the World Championships in between, none of them were stripped, because at the time no positive test existed to strip them with. What changed was quieter. A compensation fund opened for athletes who could prove damage, infertility, liver disease, depression. In some cases, children born with birth defects traced to what their mothers were given as teenagers. Thousands applied. Many never did, because admitting it meant admitting the wins weren't fully theirs, and some of these women had built entire identities on being unbeatable. The gold stayed gold in every history book. The costs stayed buried in medical files most of them never got to read until they were adults, and some never got to read at all. So here's the part nobody's answered. East Germany kept files on rowing, swimming, track, sport by sport, name by name. Some of those files surfaced. Others were destroyed in the weeks before the wall fell deliberately by people who knew exactly what was in them. Nobody knows how many programs never got their moment of exposure, how many miracles of method are still sitting quietly in the record books, untouched, because their paperwork simply never survived. If it took 44 years for one file cabinet to talk, What's still locked in the ones that didn't burn?